Welcome back to another video with Mama Bear. So recently I did a challenge for a wool of every color, and I realized that some people had a little bit of difficulty figuring out the dyes. So I've set up this grid in the background to teach you guys a little bit about Minecraft dyes. So let's get right into it. This first set of dyes here are Minecraft's primary dyes. That doesn't mean primary colors in real life. It means Minecraft's primary dyes, which means these dyes can only be crafted from ingredients that were spawned into the natural world. So example for white dye, if you find a bone or a bone block or a bone meal, they can all be crafted into white dye. The only flower that will give you white dye is lily of the valley. So because I'm in creative, I don't have a crafting table, the small one up here. So we're just going to come over here and look. So lily of the valley gives you white dye. Bone gives you bone meal, which gives you 3 white dye. Or 1 bone meal gives you 1 white dye. Or a bone block gives you 9 bone meal and 9 white dye. So those are all of the ways that you can get white dye from the world. Black dye is also another primary, which you can only obtain from a wither rose or an ink sac. Wither roses are complicated to get, but they create black dye, and an ink sac creates black dye, and ink sacs you get from killing squid. Brown dye is one of the most complicated dyes because you can only get brown dye from a cocoa bean, which is only found in a jungle. Blue dye can be crafted either from lapis or a cornflower will give you blue dye. Green dye can only be made by smelting a cactus in a furnace. Red dye can be crafted from 4 different plants. The beetroot will give you red dye, the red tulip will give you red dye, the rose bush will give you 2 red dye, or a poppy will give you a red dye. There are 2 flowers that will give you yellow dye. A sunflower will give you 2 yellow dye, or a dandelion will give you 1. Those are how you get all the primary colors in Minecraft. This next set of colors is called the Quasi Primary. These dyes can be crafted from an ingredient spawned naturally in the world or by combining other dyes. So first we have pink, which can be crafted either from a peony to get 2 pink dye or a pink tulip to get 1 pink dye. You can also combine red dye and white dye, and because there's 2 dyes there, you're going to get 2 pink dye. Orange dye is crafted either from an orange tulip or by combining red and yellow. And because there's 2 dyes there, you get 2 dyes from it. Magenta. The 2 flowers that will give you magenta are the lilac, because it's a 2-high flower, you get 2 dyes, or the allium, and you get 1. There are also 2 different ways to craft magenta dye. You can take pink and purple, and because you have 2 there, you get 2 magenta. If you don't have purple, but you have blue and red, you could make purple first, or you can just combine the 3 colors. And because there's 3 colors, you get 3 dye. Lime green can be obtained by smelting a sea pickle in a furnace. You can also create lime dye by combining green dye and white dye. Because there's two, you get two dye. There are three flowers that will give you light gray dye: your white tulip, your oxeye daisy, or your azure bluet. I can never say that. Azure bluet. They all give you light gray dye. You can also craft light gray dye by taking gray dye and white dye, and you get two light gray dye. Light blue can be crafted from the blue orchid found in the swamp. And it can also be crafted by combining blue dye and white dye, and you get two light blue dye. The third set of colors is the secondary colors in Minecraft, and these can only be created by combining primary dyes together. So, your gray dye can only be created by combining black and white, and you get two gray. Your purple dye can only be created by combining red and blue, and you get two purple. And your cyan dye can only be created by combining blue and green, and you get two cyan dye. And that is how you get all of your dyes in Minecraft: the primary, the quasi-primary, and the secondary. Alright guys, that's it for the dyes. Thank you for joining me, and I hope this helps everyone to figure out how to get dyes in their Minecraft world. Please don't forget to subscribe and like and comment down below and let me know if you enjoyed this video. I love responding to all your comments. Thanks! Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye!